Life is terrible. Life is precious. Life is a terribly precious thing to waste. Just yesterday I spoke with a woman. She's a mother. She's a wife. Her son is 18 years old. He shot himself in the head a week ago. Now an army of nurses, doctors, and respiratory therapists are working like mad to save his life. I put him into a coma. I did it because we were trying to save his life. It was the last desperate measure, the highest level of care we could give him. Most people think that a medically induced coma is common. They think that it's something that I and others like me do all the time, but it's not. When your loved one is in the hospital, hooked up to machines that breathe for them, when they're on medicine to keep them asleep so they don't move their arms and legs and they don't respond when you talk to them, that's not a coma. That's just sedation. A coma is worse. A coma is like turning off the lights entirely. A coma is when someone is even more asleep than that. They're not going to wake up if you shake them. A sedated patient will. A comatose patient won't wake up at all unless we let them. All that thou seest will quickly perish, and those who have been spectators of its dissolution will very soon perish too. And he who dies at the extremest old age will be brought into the same condition with him who died prematurely. Marcus Aurelius. Think about the day you were born. When was that? How long ago was it? What happened just one day before that? Of course, you don't remember it. No one remembers the day they were born. To you, it's just a date on the calendar. It's a day that everyone tells you should be important, so it's important. But to you, to your mind, it's just a mark on a page. Think about that day again. When was it? What were your parents doing on that day? What did they feel? What might they remember? Because to them that day isn't just a number on a page. To them that day carries weight. It carries significance. It might even be the most important day of their lives. And to them, it's a day in the past. It's a day they remember. A day they remember and you don't. That mother I spoke to, she was thinking about that day. She was thinking about the importance of that day, and she was thinking about just how long ago it really was. Life is precious. Life is terrible. Life is terribly short. No matter how desperately you cling to each moment, it slips away. Time moves along at the same pace. It's a careless, thoughtless, mercilessly plodding machine that slowly grinds up everything in its path. It's a river that carries each of us along in its flow, too weak to swim upstream. And most of us drift along with it, unaware and uncaring. Sights we see go unnoticed, ignored, or perhaps we even despise them. We despise things we've never seen before, things we'll never see again. We're caught in a trance, you and I. Each and every one of us is caught in a hypnotic state of mind that carefully selects the things we want to see, carefully selects the things to ignore. And the thing we most ignore is the river in which we're flowing. We ignore it every day, ceaselessly. We make plans for tomorrow, for Tuesday, for next month, next year, and we wish that those times were now. We don't just wish that now was now. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. Matthew 6:34, the words of Jesus Christ. The one who spoke those words died 2,000 years ago. The one who wrote them down died shortly thereafter. And how many have lived in between to read them, to learn them, and then to die? And of those, how many do you know? And how many of them know you? And in 2,000 years, how many of those alive will know of you? All right, you say, all right, enough. I get it, stop trying to make me feel so awful, but that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I want to wake you up, to show you the world around you. I want you to open your eyes to the beauty, the terror, the awesomeness of the life right in front of you. How many people do you see every day, completely unaware of their world, staring at that little glowing device in their hands that sucks away the joy from everything around them? How many times do you yourself ignore the world, ignore your wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, sister, brother, mom, dad, son, or daughter, in favor of that little glowing square in your hand? How many times a day do you say, I wish it was another day? And how often do you ignore the ones you love to stare at a little glowing glass square so that it can piss you off? And have you considered that one day you'll be looking back at your life, thinking about all the things you've done? One day you'll be at the end of it just like every other person. And you'll want to look back through your memories just like every other person. What will you remember? Look, I'm telling you all this because I think it's something you need to hear. It's something you deserve to know. Life is short. Life is precious. It's a terrible thing too, but even in its terrible moments, it's precious. I hope it's a lesson you all learn today. I hope it's a lesson the mother of that 18-year-old boy learned long before the day she heard the gunshot, long before she heard the scream, long before she saw the things that will haunt her dreams for the rest of her terribly precious, short life. Life is precious. Life is terrible. Life is short and more fragile than you could possibly believe. So open your eyes and look around. Look up and see the world in front of you. Attend to the troubles of the day because they are sufficient. Find someone you love and tell them. Look to the task you're engaged in at this very moment and do it with all the passion you can muster. It doesn't matter if it's a silly, menial task. It doesn't matter if it's something you wish you didn't have to do. Pay attention to it. Pay attention to the feeling of living, of being alive. You're alive right now, and that's important, because one day you won't be. There's a very limited amount of time you get on this earth. There is a finite number of moments you get to experience. Every night before we go to bed, my wife and I stop in our daughter's room. She's just a little over 10 months old now. We stand by the side of her crib and watch her sleep for just a little while, taking in the moment. And those are the moments I feel most present, the moments I feel most alive. And it's in those moments when I remember conversations like the one I had with that mother. And I think about how important it is for me to drink in the present, to set aside the future, to set aside the worries and just be. One day, my daughter will be old enough that I can't do that anymore. She'll go to bed the same time I do, or she'll go to bed even later. She'll move out of my house and start her own life someday, perhaps with kids and a husband of her own. Or perhaps her life will end before mine, in some tragedy or another. In any case, the question will be the same. How many moments did I attend to? How many times was I there? And how many did I miss because of my own selfishness? How many did I miss because of preoccupation, unconsciousness, because I was wishing for tomorrow to come sooner? Sufficient to the day are the troubles thereof, and yet I fill my own with the troubles of tomorrow. I fill today, and I fill tomorrow, and I fill the rest of my life with these troubles until finally, there at the end, I have only one thing left to trouble me. How many moments did I miss? How many times did I ignore? How many ways did I put off the ones I love so that I could preoccupy myself with someone, something, some event, some problem that doesn't even exist within my sphere of influence? And now all of them remain in the past, unrecovered, unrecoverable, gone forever, just like I will be in a few short moments. So that's my message to you, dear listener. Go out into your life and attend. Be present. Focus yourself in each moment and live. And if you feel that focus slipping, let it slip. Let it slip all the way down the road to the end of your life, and then turn your attention backwards to today. Count the moments you'll lose. Count the memories you'll miss. Count the loved ones you'll take for granted. And let all of that bring you back to the here and now. Then come back and live your life. Not for the likes on Twitter, not for the anger that you feel when you read the news, not for the shows you like on television about people you've never met in places you'll never go. Come back and live your life for today. Live it for now. For your family, for your children, for your significant other, for yourself. Sufficient to the day are the things within it, so be filled with those things, and let all the others fall away.